Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're active in your local scene. You've released multiple records, but your streams never seem to grow. You play shows all the time, but your show attendance never improves. While there can be many reasons for these problems, one possibility is that your music is good. Let me explain. If you're stuck in a sea of good music, nothing about you is going to get the attention of listeners that you're trying to reach. But if there's a band in your scene that's putting out great music, guess who's going to level up? In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to stop making good music and start making great music. I've been in the Long Island heavy music scene playing, recording, and performing for over 20 years. And I've helped lots of heavy bands elevate their music to a level they didn't know possible. And while I can't sit here and guarantee that this advice is going to land you a record deal or a national tour or getting on a curated playlist, I will tell you that if you're looking for those things, this is something you should listen to. You know what this is? This is the percentage of bands that never break out of their local scene. Now let me show you the percentage of bands that self-produce. Lastly, I'd like to show you the percentage of signed bands that work with a producer. If you think that's all a coincidence, you should probably watch a different video. That was fun. Let's talk about this. A great example of this is the band Boundaries. Heavy band from Hartford, Connecticut, one of my favorite young bands, absolutely crushing it right now. Rewind to their first release. You could hear the attitude and the vibe of the band, but there was definitely something missing. That record was self-produced. And correct me if I'm wrong, because for the life of me, I couldn't find credits for a producer on that record. Then they set out to work on their follow-up, Your Receding Warmth. And for that, they hired Randy LeBoeuf, one of the most badass producer mixers in heavy music right now. And that album crushes. And lo and behold, their band grew. In 2022, they hired Randy again for their next album, Burying Brightness. And that album was even better. The band started to blow up. Bigger shows, way more streams. Then in 2024, they set out to record their next album, Death is a Little More, hiring Randy once again. And this was their best work yet. I seriously think I listened to that album on repeat for like 8 months. And no shocker, their band exploded. Bigger headlining shows, and when they were in support, they were supporting great bands. They just kept getting better and better. Imagine if they self-produced all 4 of their records. Where do you think they'd be? And if you've never checked out Boundaries, please go do so. They are awesome. If you think that professional bands hire producers because that's what pro bands do, you're right. And if you're serious about your band and you want to achieve the things that pro bands do, like record deals, tours, stream counts that blow up, or just making a living from music, my question is, why don't you work with a producer? The fact is, nowhere is it written that says you have to achieve this level of success in order to hire a producer. As a matter of fact, it works the other way around. Some people are confused about what a producer actually does, so let me help break that down for you. A producer, at least a good producer, works with the band to make the songs on their record the best they can possibly be. And that covers a lot of things. It might mean exploring different tempos for the song to see what gives it the best feel, or tweaking the arrangement to give the song a better flow. Sometimes it's helping the vocalist to reword their lyrics so their message is clear and powerful. It can even be altering riffs or drum grooves so the instruments are tight and huge. At the end of the day, it's about the vision of the artist and helping them to get their songs to be better than the way they imagine them. Sometimes a band's hesitant to work with a producer because they feel uncomfortable having an outsider give any kind of opinion on their art. And I totally get where that comes from. Music is super personal. It's like your baby. But most parents know that sending your kid to school one day or allowing them to make and hang out with friends is going to make the kid better, even though it comes with some outside influence. And if we're sticking with the analogy here, most parents want to steer their kids away from bad influences. And unfortunately, that definitely exists in the music community. Just like any other profession, there's great producers and there's some bad ones. There are producers that operate like tyrants, not teammates. Some producers will rush you in and out of the studio, not really caring if they help make your music better. And some have motives of putting their stamp or their trademark on your song. Steer clear of these people. But how do you know which are the good ones and which are the bad ones? Here's what I recommend. Talk to other bands in your scene, or a band whose music you really respect and like. Ask them who produced their record, and more importantly, ask them what the experience was like. If a band had a bad experience, trust me, they'll tell you. If they had a great experience, they'll tell you that too. I've heard lots on both sides. If you hear good things, Schedule a meeting with that producer. Meet up with them for a drink or ask to come to their studio to check it out and sit and talk with them. This is your opportunity to see if the vibe is right. It's got to be a good fit. Ask them questions about their process and tell them about the record you want to make. And make sure they can help you. For example, I work exclusively with heavy bands. That's the music I love most, and that's where my tastes are most cultivated. If a classic rock band hits me up and wants to record here, I'm probably not taking the gig, simply because I know I'm not the right person for the job. If I take on that band, they may walk away with a record they don't like, and they're left with a bad taste in their mouth. Nobody wins in that situation. For me, every artist I've ever worked with has hit me up for a second project. That tells me, number one, they were happy with the end result, and number two, they had a good time making their music here. In that scenario, everyone wins. I always want to work with the band and help them make their songs as great as they possibly can be. They walk away with music that they absolutely love, and when another band in the scene asks them about making their record with me, I get sung praises. So to sum it up, if you have goals for your band, you're looking to go places, hiring a producer is a really good idea. A good producer is going to work with you, not against you, to bring your vision to light. Ask the bands you know for recommendations. Meet up with that producer, and if the vibe is right, roll with it. And if you're still not completely sure and you don't want to fully commit, start with a single. Worst case scenario, you're out a little bit of time and money. Best case scenario, you change your career. If this is all making sense to you and you're a hardcore, metalcore, or deathcore band that's writing new music and wondering if we might be a good fit to work together, just head to riffhavenaudio.com. You could listen to the stuff I've worked on. If you like it, click the Get Started button, answer a couple questions, and I'll hit you up so we can talk about your project. I hope this was helpful. If it was, like and subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss the next one, which will be out next week. See you then.